Hello, everyone, and welcome to Origins Game Fair via Nerd Leading the Nerd. I'm Drew,
I'm Seth.
and what he was going to say is we're live.
Listen, this is just as weird for us as it is for you, but we're hanging out and
In the white void. Definitely, next time we try to attempt this, we need to bring some kind of a background, some kind of backdrop, something like that. But so we've been here since Thursday. Seth, let's start in and kind of talk to the folks about some of the things that we've seen, maybe some of the people that we've seen, and let's just get right into it, man.
yeah, so I think the highlight of my Origins experience has been running games. I had the pleasure of running Pirate Borg and working directly with the publisher, which is Limithron, and they've just been absolutely fantastic. Every day I showed up, my table has been set up, prepared for me with books and character sheets, and I just had to bring myself, and I had a couple of little goodies, some miniatures and stuff like that,
doodads.
some little diddly doos, and but yeah, I mean they were like super professional, super prepared. I got a nice little gift bag for helping them out on the GM side of things, so that's been really cool. And I don't know if I would do it like this next time, but I've ran the same exact scenario every morning. And so it does get a little repetitive, but what's funny is how vastly different the groups have been.
Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah, so day one, I get in there and I'm thinking to myself, I'm running kind of it's really like an introductory adventure called Dead Man's Cove. And it's really there to show the players their naval combat system, and you also get some hand-to-hand melee combat experience as well. It's a really nice mixed bag adventure.
And ships, not belly buttons, right?
Correct.
Okay.
What did I say?
You said naval combat.
Oh.
I mean, I'm just thinking of two big dudes mashing their belly buttons together, and maybe there's like some sort of weird air pocket channel that one of them like gets knocked back. I don't know. Am I just the weird one here?
Yeah, I think you are. It's certainly about ship-to-ship combat, but it's geared towards new players. But I get there day one thinking I'm gonna have to like walk people through how to create their characters and all the rules and everything. No, they come in hot. A group of 6. They all know each other. And one guy, first thing he does is he busts out a beer. It's 10 o'clock in the morning, I should have mentioned.
Great way to start.
And I'm just like, yes, this group is going to be awesome. And they were like ridiculously over the top with their role playing, and again, just drinking a beer, which I found to be amazing. And they brought their own character sheets. So apparently they've been playing Pirate Borg for years, for the last 2 years, let's call it, at Gen Con and Origins, and they've had the same characters this whole time.
Yeah.
So they brought with them like all these crazy like ancient relics and these dispositions of like what they were gonna do. And so I had to make an instant tweak to what I was gonna do, but we got through it and we had a ton of fun. And so I've had
what levels were they?
Oh, there's really not leveling in the Morkborg system. I mean, in terms of like, oh, I'm level 4 or I'm level 6, but that you do get better abilities as time goes on. So they were less squishy than, maybe a brand new character.
Sure.
But what was cool is I didn't realize that, the Pirate Borg folks were,
they were hip to it, weren't they?
Well, I didn't realize that the publisher, Limithron, was encouraging people to keep their characters going. So what was cool after that, when I did get new players, I encouraged them to take their character sheets with them. And so far, I am running a game tomorrow. It's my last game. But so far, I've only killed one character. So everyone else got to take their character sheets with them. And I guess, they can keep playing that character at their home game if they have one, or they can keep signing up for Pirate Borg games and conventions and using those characters. But I've had a very nice mixed bags of experienced and new players alike, and that's been the highlight of this convention, is just getting a chance to run games.
Yeah, well, and I do think that you make a good point. If you're running the same thing over and over again, that has to be a little tedious or boring for you. But realistically, you now have multiple different angles. So now someone's coming in, hot, where they're drinking a beer and their character's drinking a beer, and they're just hucking it at skeletons. Like, now you're going to know, you're already prepared for this. You know what's going to happen. So
Yeah.
But yeah, man, maybe next time have 4 different games ready to go.
Yeah, I just wanted to keep. I knew that we were going to be doing a lot of this kind of stuff, so I didn't want the GM and game running side of it to stress me out. And I
Sure.
can run Dead Man's Cove. If you don't own that adventure and you're into Pirate Borg, you should definitely pick it up. It's a little pamphlet, and it's really designed for, again, new players, but also convention running. It has a really nice layout on the back that tells you kind of where you should be and a nice little timeline layout.
Okay.
And it keeps you on track. I could run that in my sleep. I looked at it a few days before we came to Origins because I wanted to revisit it, and I was like, I don't even know why I looked at this, because anybody can pick this up and run this game. That's what makes it awesome. I wish more modules were like that in all role-playing games.
Now, is that something that you can get like at their booth? Is that
Yeah,
okay.
and on there, so if you're at Origins, definitely stop by the Limithron booth. But you can also get on their website, and I'm sure tons of online retailers that carry this type of stuff would carry it as well. We do. I do want to mention that we have a question in the chat from Patty. Do you want to answer that now, or do you want to?
Yeah, let's answer them as they come.
Yeah, because we want to encourage you guys at home to ask questions. And
Engage.
We will answer them in real time. So Patty asks, have you spent more or less than you anticipated?
Okay.
I love this question, by the way.
Okay, so currently, I would say that I've spent far less than what I spent at Gen Con last year. I did not give myself a budget, which is probably a bad idea, but I have not spent a lot, to be perfectly honest, at this con. It's been a lot of kind of scoping things out. A lot of people are running Kickstarters, and so it's kind of nice. Like, you get to demo the game in person, and then you kind of make that decision. If this something that you like, you can kind of do it later. But yeah, so far so good. But we're definitely going to talk about something that may test that budget a little later on in the live stream. So okay, let's talk about some of the people that we've met, and let's talk about some of the games that they reached out to us, and we kind of talked with them. Some of the shorts that have come out over the past couple of days, just to kind of give them a little bit of an extra shout out. Who do you want to start with?
Well, we've got a nice little list here, our cheat sheet, if you will, because if I didn't have a cheat sheet, I would
completely forget.
Yeah, and or get off the rails. So we'll just go down the list of developers here, game publishers, if you will. I haven't historically been super into card games.
Yeah.
We did just do an episode that's going to come out here soon about Lorcana, and I think that experience may change that a little bit.
Sure.
Because I had a lot of fun playing that game. So I was excited to see what card games were at this convention, and
there's a lot.
A ton of card games. It's overwhelming, actually. But one of the ones that we got a chance to interview and have some back and forth with was King Arthur's trading card game. And
yeah, it's called Roundtable.
Thank you.
Yeah.
I keep saying it wrong because
okay.
It's King Arthur. That's like in my head. I like King Arthur stuff.
Yeah,
I mean, I do.
too.
Knights of the Round Table, like that's classic. Who doesn't want to be at the round table, dude?
And what's also interesting too is, you have your initial set, but then there's all these different locations that you can expand. So there's like 30 different locations that you can go to and conquer, and gain more power and more points so that you can win. And then what's interesting too is he was kind of talking about the expansion of it, because if you think about King Arthur's court, there's a lot, but there are boundaries to it. So I think he was talking about like bringing in other countries, other rulers from other countries. So there's now a little bit more of a collaboration kind of a thing, and then it's kind of all right. Well, now that even if we're playing different characters on King Arthur's court, maybe we team up and go after like a Genghis Khan or something like that. Yeah. And I think that would be really cool. So I thought it was great. Bill was super cool. We had a great time chatting with him, talking about his game. It just kind of started too. Like, he just got his Kickstarter backers fulfilled. And so this is that perfect moment where he's excited because he's got, people have the game, they're starting to play it, and then he's just trying to build on that by being here and like doing the con circuit. So I'm very excited for him, and I hope to see him again next year with some new additions.
Yeah, absolutely. Next up, we met with Grand Gamers Guild, and they showed us a game. They have tons of different games, but they really showcased, and I think, I was going to say, I think Drew even purchased a few.
Probably a little blurry for y'all.
But Holiday Hijinks, and why don't you let the folks at home know kind of what that game's about?
Well, so essentially, it's kind of like an escape room setup, but you're playing it via cards. And the way that it's structured is not only are you, in some escape room things that you do from home, you have to kind of destroy parts of it. Like there's this, the box of one that Neil Patrick Harris does. You have to like destroy the lid of the box to find a secret, which is really cool. But then, you kind of have this janky thing and you're like, hey, you want this? I beat it already. So the thing is, there's nothing that gets destroyed with these cards.
Yeah.
So you can play it over and over again with different outcomes, and then you can also hand it off to someone else, and you can get these little packets and kind of trade with each other. So you can do all of these different holidays and things like that, which I think is really cool. I think that's a great concept, and especially if you're looking to do an escape room really quick and you don't have a lot of space for these massive, bulky board game boxes, this is perfect, dude. I mean, this fits in your pocket. So even if you're that person that like you go over to someone's house and you're chilling and the party is not started, you need a party starter, you whip this out and then everyone's gonna have fun with the Groundhog Gambit or any of the other holiday editions that they have.
Yeah, I like stuff like this where you can just leave it in your backpack. I'm like this with role-playing games too. You get these little like 1-2 player pamphlet-y style things, and it's just there as a backup, maybe even to your main game.
Yeah.
When your full gaming group can't get together. I do want to take a moment to pause from our games that we've seen, or rather we
got some comments.
Yeah, we've got some comments that we want to address here. So Zero Dynasty asks, what is your favorite game and you have played so far?
So that's a great one.
Is this a mutual answer, I think? Are we on the same wavelength?
I think so. Okay, so on the count of three, we'll say the one that we both liked.
Yeah. Okay.
1, 2, 3. Robot Arena.
Final Girl.
Oh, okay.
My bad. I didn't say it at 3, but
you didn't.
I got scared because I didn't hear the come out of your mouth, and I was like, "What is he gonna say?" And I panicked.
Well, I didn't play that. You did.
Yeah, that's fair. You were there, though.
I watched. Yeah, but it's not the same when you're just watching.
Okay, so I'll go first. Final Girl is a one-player sort of horror game where you are literally the final girl in every cheesy horror movie ever.
Yeah.
The one that has to, most of the time, ultimately defeats the killer or monster or whatever.
Beast, whatever you have.
In the case of, most of them, they come back in sequel movies, but there's always a final girl. And so you're playing alone at, table, wherever, and we had the pleasure of having one of the guys from the publisher teach us how to play the game.
Yeah.
And who did I play? The Wolfman. I was fighting, I was the final girl.
No, it was like Big Bad Wolf.
Big Bad Wolf, yeah.
Because your character was kind of like Red Riding Hood, but it was just red.
And there is a lot. It looked very complex at first. And
it did, yeah.
But after he taught us how to play, and I went through some rounds, it clicked.
It got so much easier, yeah.
Oh yeah. So I won't even be able to explain like any additional insight into the game other than it was really cool if you like horror stuff, and the marketing is what originally spoke to me because they sell like this massive box set that comes with different episodes, which are different killers.
Yeah.
But it has VHS imagery. It looks like a VHS player at the top, and each episode looks like a VHS box.
Yes.
And so naturally, I migrated toward that. And after I learned how to play, I'm like, this game is really, really fun. It's a deck builder style game, I think they call it. I'm not super hip on all of it.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah. Because you spend cards, but then they go back in the shop. So yeah, it is that deck builder style. But dude, as I was watching it, we both have the bug on this one, and that's actually the game that I was referring to earlier. That because they have that box set, we both keep going back there. Now you can buy it in pieces, which is great. They have starter kits, they have a core kit, they sell the mats by themselves. So we still haven't made that decision yet, but the big box and the miniatures is like $180, and that's that's a hard spend.
But again,
But it looks so cool.
It is so
cool. It looks
cool.
so
Like,
cool. I mean, it just, yeah, that's...
The only drawback on that game, and kind of in closing, and I want you to tell us about your favorite game, is that I question how much will I play a game alone?
Right. You could kind of play it two-player, though.
He was telling us about that.
You know, and that's the thing. Like, you're playing as that, final girl, and then there's the other one that kind of, leads the beast. Like, there's some limitations there.
Yeah.
But I think it's an easy two-player, and you can kind of discuss strategies and things like that. And that is from Van Ryder Games.
Yeah.
So we haven't done a short on them yet, but I think we're inevitably going to cover the game at some point.
Yeah.
We're leaving with something. I just don't know what.
Yeah, we've talked about playing it on the channel together and making it a two-player game, much like we've done with a lot of one-player games on this channel.
Or multiplayer games.
Yeah. So, you mentioned one of the games that we did cover in a short. That was your favorite game, and we had the pleasure of playing that last night in our hotel room, and that is...
Oh, it's so much fun. It's called Robot Arena, like Robot Quest Arena or something like that. And I actually, Robot Quest Arena, and I actually have a little card. So it comes with like robots and cards and all this other stuff. It's really cool. You can see the full spread in the short. So check out the channel to find out a little bit more of that. But you can buy these new little bots. They have these new ones. And again, like this is not, we're too far from the camera to make it less blurry. But it comes with like extra cards, extra gems. You can play 4 players. If you're playing 2 players, you can just have 2 bots. You can play 4 bots.
Yeah.
It was very frustrating learning the rules. We were exhausted from the day, and it was tough. But once we kind of figured it out, it was. I mean, we were having a blast. I won. We're not super competitive, but I'm going to try to rub it in your face. So.
I watched a lot of that one show. What was it back in the day where they would build robots and fight them?
Yeah, like battle bots and stuff like that. Yeah, dude.
So that kind of spoke to me. But yeah, it was super fun, and it did take both of us to learn the rules. But I don't think that's an indicator of how difficult the rules are. I think we're just a couple of dummies, and it just takes us longer to learn things. That was the first question. What was our favorite game? As someone going there for the first time, what advice would you give? Drew?
Well, I highly recommend bringing water bottles. So it's been in the 90s all week.
Yeah.
I'm a big dude. It's been a very sweaty couple of days. And if you bring your own, like buy cases of water, throw it in your car if you're driving. If you're at a hotel room, throw them in your hotel room, put them in your backpack, because if you go to the convention, like your options are a little limited, and it is expensive. I did reuse this because I forgot to bring a reusable, but stay hydrated, take breaks.
Yeah.
And there's been a lot of like little food spaces around, and there's been a nice variety. So when you need to take a break, take a snack, hydrate. That's key.
I would say this is a smaller convention, especially everyone seems like they compare everything to Gen Con. And so I think you want to sign up for as many games for this as you can, because there's a lot of time to play games here. You can get through the vendor hall, in an afternoon.
Yeah, we zigzagged it at the end of yesterday, and it took us like 2 hours. We were kind of,
Yeah, and we were certainly
chatting
shopping
around and
buying.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think you can get through the vendor hall much faster than you would at a Gen Con. And I would fill your day with games, and just this is the convention to play games. And I think that's what makes it cool and special, is it's a little more intimate, and I appreciate that. Gen Con can get a little crazy. I know last year was a big year, and I know this year is going to be crazy with the 50th anniversary of D&D. And so we're probably going to be like sardines in that vendor hall. So
be touching a lot of other sweaty humans.
I did appreciate this being a little more intimate and like kind of low key. So and as a result, if I was not doing this and talking to publishers and creating content, I would have signed up for like as many games as I could.
Well, and additionally, this gives you a better chance to just walk up to a booth and ask for a product demo or ask for a game demo. I remember, in other conventions, you walk up and they're like, "Do you have an appointment?" And it's like, "Oh no, I don't." It's like, "Okay, well then, try coming back at the start of the next day to book an appointment," or they're already completely booked up.
Yeah.
and that's kind of a bummer. So yeah, this one's great, and I've seen a lot of spaces too with like board games stacked out and just like empty tables, so you can kind of play as you go. They have the what is it, like the library area where you can go, which that's awesome.
Yeah.
So yeah, just if you're really into stuff, then spend some time at the vendor hall. If you're really into games, sign up for as many as you possibly can. Give yourself, I don't know, like between time, probably about 30 minutes is good.
Yeah, you don't need that much time because again, everything's a lot closer.
Yeah.
And so you're not trying to, speed walk across, like several different hotels.
Yeah.
It is a lot. I underestimated, I think, the kind of intimacy of it, and I think that was our next question: was did anything surprise you? That was what surprised me. Is just kind of like how easy to navigate the convention center was with the adjoining hotels.
Yeah.
So I didn't need as much time, and I'm like that weirdo that gets to everything early. So I had a lot of downtime where I was just kind of sitting around because I didn't take me that long to walk from my car or navigate because they had really great. I mean, again, I can't say it enough. It's just been really nice to not be like feel like you have no time to do anything because you have a lot of time.
Yeah. What else do we have?
The other question, last question in the chat was, what was it like running games for a publisher? So kind of like what I said earlier is that, I can only speak for Limithron, but yeah, they treat their GMs really, really well, and they give them nice incentives to run games for them, and they have everything available that you could possibly need. And again, I brought some of my own stuff from home, but really I didn't need to because they had everything. Again, I'm just kind of a weirdo, and I just like things the way I like them. But again, and like my back is paying the price because I had a lot of silly stuff in my backpack. But regardless, if you don't have to do that, and especially like if you were traveling like far, or dare I say, you had to fly and run a game for those guys. You don't need to bring anything; they've got everything for you. So that was really great.
I did get that there is that nice sort of level of respect that it's. They appreciate that people are working with them, and so it is as easy as possible. Like if you make it as easy as possible, people will want to do it again and again. So then you have those veteran DMs, GMs that will keep coming back. So you have that good support system, and then you can expand from there. Like that's a great method of doing it, in my opinion.
Yeah, 100%. Willow asks. Does Origins feel big too? And I definitely want to say that yes, it does. Like this is a serious convention.
Yes.
There's a ton of people here. I don't know exactly how many people. It's thousands and thousands of people.
Yeah.
And but again, it does feel a little bit more intimate, and I think that just speaks to the layout of the Columbus Convention Center. I think is part of it, and the two hotels that they're utilizing, which is the Hyatt and I believe the Hilton, are connected, and I think that helps a lot. But yeah, this is no small potato at all. Like this is,
Well, and that's the thing. Like the convention center itself is massive.
Massive.
And then you have it bleeding over into two hotels. Like that's even bigger. So, and plus, like I will say that the downtown area, everything's pretty close.
There's so many places to eat right there.
Well, and that's the thing. Like you walk out of a door, and there's pizza by the slice, and you're just like, that sounds amazing.
Yeah.
And then you go a little bit further down into like the sea area of that, and you walk out, and then there's like a little brew pub or something there. I mean there's a lot of cool stuff, a lot of cool places to eat, which excites this guy. I was actually before this, I was talking to Seth. I was like, we should grab a slice, like just a slice,
100%. Almost like as an appetizer for whatever we get into this evening.
Exactly.
So next up, if we're gonna get through our, kind of our showcased games / publishers.
Yeah.
We talked about the Grand Gamers Guild. Next up, who treated us really, really well. Everybody did.
Yeah.
But we shot a lot of content with Wise Wizard Games.
Yeah.
And one of them that they're really pushing right now because it's brand new. I think it just came out the first day of Origins. Is Caution Signs.
Yes.
And as someone who, my wife's family is pretty large. She has 3 sisters, and it seems like they're always at my house. It's the strangest thing. But they are, they always want to do something. Like they must be entertained. And so we play, a good amount of games. And this, instantly I knew, I was like, I got to get that because my sister, my in-laws, and my family alike will play this game.
Yeah.
And basically, you have one person who's drawing. Actually, I think everybody draws a picture based on these prompts that they're given,
Yeah.
and then one person has to then take those prompts and match them with the drawing.
Yeah,
And it's like a party game.
Yeah, so essentially, you'll grab like 2 little cards, and it could be like flexible cow, and then you have to draw a flexible cow on there, and one person is not drawing; they have to be the guesser, and then based on how many that guesser gets right, you either get 1 or 2 points or no points, and that's how it kind of like builds up and stuff like that, which is great. Honestly, I'm really bad at drawing, and
Same.
That makes it more fun, to be perfectly honest. Like if you could zip out, a Van Gogh in 20 seconds, people are going to be like, well, yeah, of course that's a musical mummy,
Honestly, I can think in my head exactly what I would draw if I got musical mummy as my prompt.
What would you draw?
I would attempt to draw some sort of mummy, and then I would put like little musical,
Notes around them? Okay. Well, this one's got that and headphones.
Oh, okay.
But I don't know how the headphones make it musical, but,
Anyway.
you'd see the prompts. And yeah.
Yeah. So this game, I obviously like stoked to play it and
Yeah.
played through. We did some playthroughs and things like that, but they had a
Yeah.
bunch of different games. They had a really big booth right up at the front, right when you walk in. So
Yeah, they did the Battle Quest Arena. They did this. There was a Sherlock Solitaire
Yeah.
that we kind of walked through, which that was cool. That's a game for one, and you can play either as Sherlock or Dr. Watson, which is cool because I feel like Watson usually gets the short end of the deal when it comes to some of these games because everyone wants to be Sherlock.
Yeah.
So that's cool. It's got a variety of ways that you can play, and then there's a couple other things that. Again, there was just so many there. The booth was massive. They're the people that made the lanyards, so they're a big deal.
Yeah, it was great. And again, Danielle treated us just like we were family. So it
Yeah.
was really, really fun experience for us, just being small creators to be, treated so well by a game publisher.
Yeah.
Can't say enough great things about those folks. Next up, this one is like kind of a teaser because she's here at Origins to essentially.
A teaser.
Sorry. Yeah, the name of the game is Pirates of the High Teas.
Yes.
And she is pushing this game for an upcoming Kickstarter and demoing it and whatnot. Had a really nice booth, and again just treated us fantastic.
Yeah. The artwork is phenomenal.
Oh yeah.
Essentially, and the thing is, there's a short that came out featuring that game. We did not do it justice because of the 1 minute limitation on YouTube Shorts. So I definitely think that it is going to require a bit of a follow up. But essentially, it's that idea. If you've seen Our Flag Means Death, you'll get it. That there are pirates out there that do take high tea, and honestly, I can see even the gritty, grimy pirates. They want to enjoy some of the finer things in life. They're always going for treasure.
Yeah.
And if they came across, blueberry macarons and little tea cakes and stuff, I think they would be totally down for it.
Well, I think they would eat it.
Of course. Now, they may not have pinkies out. They may just shove it in their face.
They may not appreciate it.
Well, but then they get a little bit in the beard too, and then that's a little, saves it for later kind of a thing. Which I think I don't know, man. I think that's great. I think it's a wonderful, very unique and innovative game style. Essentially, what you're doing is you're just trying to build out the perfect high tea for your captain, and you can, you can get animal handlers, animals to handle the food as well, like a monkey or a parrot. You can get them to fly dishes to your captain, so you can gain more gold, gain more doubloons. Yeah, man, I think it's pretty cool. I'm excited for it.
Yeah, it looked really fun, and it was really, really well done. Super stoked. By the way, we're going to link all these games and more in the description of this, the ultimate video that will live on this channel after this live stream, like every other live stream we do. So, yeah, make sure you guys check them out. Last up, in terms of the ones that we made shorts and content around, and we met personally and had a conversation with, is another Kickstarter. Am I right? No, it's not a Kickstarter yet. It's on BackerKit. That's what it is. I was confused. This is Carolina Gaming Tables, and we talked to Clint, and they've been in business for some years. They make really high-end gaming tables.
Yeah.
And they had some of them on display, and they were beautiful. It's the type of table that, you know, I have children, so my children would destroy this table, so I couldn't have one. But if you maybe have less unruly kids, or you're, you know, a dink, as we call them, dual income, no kids, you may want one of these tables because they are beautiful. Basically, it is what would appear to be a dining room table.
Yeah.
Lift the tops off, it becomes a gaming table, and they make them out of solid hardwood. Super nice, high-end stuff. They are getting into the chair business, gaming chair business.
Yeah, so they had like solid mahogany chairs
Yeah.
that went with the table,
Yeah.
and then they did like cushions to go with that. But this is the next level, and to me, I believe if you're rocking with this table, if you are the head of the table, this is the chair that you need. It is this like tall back, winged arms, like premium leather. It's got I think you can. It's optional to get this dragon like stitched in it,
Yeah.
but it's got, you know, like gold rivets, sort of accenting it, and then the undercarriage of it is also gold. The idea is that you are a dragon perched upon your hoard of gold, just enjoying the spoils. So no, it was really cool. You sat in it. Was it comfortable?
Oh yeah, I mean it was ridiculous. It smelled like, you know,
Rich mahogany
and leather bound books. Yeah, I mean, completely over the top. I was really hoping that, you know, Clint was going to let us go home with one as like a review
You
chair.
take this one.
Just take
tie it
this
to the
home.
top, yeah.
You can keep it for like a month and enjoy it.
And then mail it back.
Mail it back somehow. I don't know how you would get it back to him, crate it somehow, but
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, it was great. Completely over the top. Like if you got that kind of dough to just blow on a chair, that's the chair to have, I would say. And again, they're on backer kit, and we'll put a link if it's something that interests you. And I think he did say they are going to run a Kickstarter later in the year.
Yeah, and essentially it's kind of that idea of, you know, the earlier Kickstarters will get like 20% discount.
Yeah.
So like MSRP on the chair is like 7,500, something around there. So yeah, and then you get like, you know, 20% off. And then there's one, like the first backer that they get will get the premium dragon stitch pattern for free. So yeah, that's definitely something to kind of, you know, keep on the lookout, because it was a really cool chair. The only problem is, and you know, Clint, if you're watching, our audio messed up when we were doing the bit with you. So we're gonna use some of the B-roll and make a short based on that. And some of the other information, and so it'll probably pop out next week. We apologize for the delay.
Yeah, that's like our worst nightmare is, and you don't.
Technology failure, yeah.
And we're like, you know, sort of learning on the fly, so sometimes you just don't know that you're fully on, and the person you're interviewing is fully on, and you just capture zero audio.
You got nothing. Yeah,
so
it's very quiet, you know.
It is there, but it's not good enough.
It's not great
for you guys to hear it. But luckily, that was the only instance of that. So Clint, we owe you one, and we will deliver on some content around that. Luckily, we did get some shots, like Drew said. So yeah, I mean, we're just having a ball at Origins. We talked about games that, you know, I've been running. We talked about like some of the stuff that hit us that we didn't really know was going to happen because this is our first Origins.
Yeah.
What is something else that you saw that you were just super jacked about, super stoked about?
Well, one of the things that I love coming to any of these conventions is like the artist alley kind of a thing.
Oh yeah.
There's a lot of artists that are like, there's not one specific place that you can go for all the art. It's kind of intermingled, which is great. But no, dude, I love seeing the artists because I'm a person that really enjoys wearing my fandom on my shirt or you know, in my house. Like there's a lot of really nerdy things that are on the walls of my house, and it's great.
No.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. The giant Mystery Science Theater 3000, you know, poster canvas thing that is behind that. You know, when we did our the Jaws month, our Shark Month content. Yeah, it's back there. And if you didn't know that was a Mystery Science Theater thing, it is. And the fact that we haven't covered Mystery Science Theater 3000 on a tangent here is because I want it to be perfect. because it is my favorite fandom, period. So I keep putting it off, but we'll do it eventually.
It's borderline inappropriate that we haven't covered that. We've
know.
started to cover it too, and then we haven't.
did.
We shot some stuff last summer.
The silhouettes, and we didn't finish it, and it got put off, and that's okay. But no, so getting back to the artists.
Yeah.
There's so many cool people that have stuff. Some of it is, digital art that people are like, drawing on like iPads and stuff like that, and those are really cool. There's other people that are doing, hand draw, hand sketch, hand paint. That stuff can get really expensive, but what's nice is most of the people that are doing that, one canvas that's God knows how much, they will have like scans of it so you can get prints. What was it, 11 by 14 or something like that?
Yeah.
And up. So that's really cool. I've seen a lot of has-been hotel stuff. I know that's not something that you're hip to, but that's a thing that's popular right now. I've seen a lot of that.
We did buy some art, not any originals as much as I would love to.
No,
but we did buy some prints, and yeah, maybe we'll do some shorts on that later. But I bought a Back to the Future print that I'm pretty stoked about, and a Zelda print as well. What did you buy again?
I got the Bender as the beer bottle. Like he's a beer bottle, and it's got Bender's like eye visor on there, which I thought was really cool. I'm a huge Futurama fan, so I enjoyed that. But there's a lot of other stuff that's here. That there's that one, the Anakin Hayden Christensen one side of the face, and then the Vader helmet on the other. It looks so cool. We've passed it so many times.
Yeah, I've had to that was a little more of a pricey piece, and I've kind of had to hone in my consumerism on that one because I really want. I also have way too much Star Wars stuff hanging in my office.
This is also true. You just hung all those posters.
I mean, I have way more Star Wars stuff than I need. In fact, I had a double of one of those posters, and I gave one to Drew because I don't need two. I mean, maybe I do, but anyway, I shared the love, and so he gets to take that home with him too. So you go home with a pretty good amount of art, actually.
Yeah, and that's so Seth like kind of surprised me with like a box of stuff that he's been building up, and of course, I come in and I was like, oh man, I'm gonna surprise Seth, and I gave you the PlayStation 5 Backbone used. By the way, I used it.
Well, listen, I wanted one, and I was like texting Drew. I was like, "Hey, man, I'm thinking about getting one of these jawbones, or is it not a jawbone, a backbone?"
Yeah.
And because I want to play, because why wouldn't I want to play PlayStation on my couch instead of in my studio space? And he's like, "Oh, don't buy one of those. I have one. I don't ever use it." I'm like,
so it wasn't really a surprise.
And I
either,
forgot all about it,
Yeah.
so it was a surprise. But yeah, we. By the way, if you're new to the channel. We do a show together every Wednesday.
Kind of like this.
Yeah, kind of like this, but we're not in the same room because we live in two different parts of the country, but we've been friends for well over a decade. And so we chit-chat a little bit, typically less of a tangent than this and more of a centralized subject, I would say.
Yeah, I mean, peek behind the curtain, we edit our videos to cut out some of the weirdness. I mean, you guys are getting it raw. Right now, the actual. I mean, we're trying to.
We have notes.
Be better. Yeah.
And we also have chat. Zero Dynasty, I love you also. And my daughter loves Has Been Hotel. Tell me some things you saw. Maybe you pick it up for me.
Oh. Well, okay. So who was that? Is that someone that we know?
Yeah, I know who that is.
Okay.
I'll keep their identity a secret for the internet.
There is the ones that I have seen that look pretty cool. So they're those like cloth banners. It's like a very thin cloth, kind of like this, and it almost this may sound a little weird, but do you remember back in the day? And maybe this was a regional thing where I come from, those T-shirts that were really popular that were like spray painted.
Oh yeah, the airbrush T-shirts.
The airbrush T-shirts. Yeah. Okay, so it's kind of like that. It's not like '90s goofy bubbly, but it has that like kind of airbrushed, and it's all of the characters. I'm pretty sure all of the characters are there, and it's just boom, 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 boom. So if you know this person. snap a picture, I know exactly where the booth is.
Oh, yeah.
And let them know. But no, it's really cool. I haven't seen much cosplay at this convention.
Yeah.
There is a section. It's the cosplay tavern.
And I think maybe that's why. Maybe they're hanging out over there.
Well, no, there's a few booths over there, but even that, like usually you see people, just kind of coming and going. I did see, I saw two guys yesterday. One was dressed up as Princess Peach, and it was an amazing dress.
Ooh.
It was like quality Princess Peach dress, and I think the other guy with him was Daisy, but I'm not 100% sure. I only saw Peach because Peach kept walking by.
Yeah. Which begs the question, we asked this last night, side note, are all the Mario princesses like related? Are they sisters or cousins or?
Probably not, okay? Probably
I
not.
want to know. I don't know enough Mario lore. I just play the games.
The amount of times that because I watch your live streams, spoiler alert, you are always like, I should get one of those like reference books.
Yeah.
Of Mario lore because I don't want to look it up on the internet. I want a book.
Well, what was that company that always made those encyclopedia books that you would get at the book fair?
The ones with like the white background.
Yeah, was it like, I want to say it's DK, but I don't know.
Donkey Kong?
Yeah, but it was like some acronym like that. Anyway, I can smell the Scholastic Book Fair right now.
Yeah,
by the way, as I say it.
When you went to the book fair, what was your grab? What did you always go for? If anything sticks out.
Oh, I was buying like a crispy Goosebump book
Yeah.
or something like that. And then if I had enough money left over, I would get some sort of poster.
Would you go for this was also, we had like a little school fair that also sold these things, but like the pencil grips, the fun, cool erasers, pencils like that. Like I would try to get, I was big into the Garfield books, so I'd get, Garfield at large. And then I wasn't a strong reader as a child, okay? I liked pictures. And then I did like Animorphs. I was a big Animorphs kid.
Animorphs was cool.
But I would always get the erasers, the pencil. I loved those neon color pencil grips that like actually teach you how to hold a pencil. They were just so much more comfortable,
Answer me this, and we'll move on from the book fair. Did you take the mechanical pencil and get the lead out as far as possible and make it look like you were injecting yourself with pencil lead, I guess?
I have a thing with needles, so no.
Oh, okay. Well, just me, huh?
I think other people did too.
I think that's why we love conventions, is because we loved the Scholastic Book Fair.
Okay.
And this actually reminds me of the book fair, sort of.
Kind of,
on a
yeah.
very much larger scale.
Very much
on steroids.
Massive. Yeah. No, that's true, especially when you're walking around and you see just like counters of dice that you can pick up and do little, hear that little clickety clackety sound, and then they're like, oh well, here's a little basket. Just put a couple things in there, it's fine. And then 10 minutes later, $60 worth of dice. It did not happen this time.
No,
it has happened in the past though. One
thing that we didn't get to do that I would have liked to was, and I guess we still can, we need to go back to the Fallout booth. I forget the publisher. And they were doing a learn to play on the Fallout RPG.
Yeah.
Because that leads me to one of the other people that, and I'm going to butcher his name.
Crafty Rick.
Crafty Rick. So he is a Cincinnati-based, I guess I would call him an artist. He is an artist. He builds these. There's a Fallout skirmish game, but I suppose, you could use this for the RPG too, but he builds models for specifically this Fallout game.
Yeah.
And we must have walked by this, I don't even know if it's called a booth because it takes up like the whole middle section basically.
Yeah, it's like an art feature section.
And we walked by it a bunch of times, and then I just happened to peep over and I'm like, is that like the Brotherhood of Steel, like blimp? And
Yeah,
you're
I was like, yeah, that's the Predwin.
Yeah.
And it's very well done. And then right below that was the big green door that leads into Diamond City.
Yeah.
And we got to talk with Crafty Rick, and the next project that he's going to do is probably going to be the interior of Diamond City, which is amazing. And then there was also Megaton, which super detailed. He had like a Pip-Boy, and he gave out these little bottle caps. Some of them are like the Nuka-Cola caps. Other ones have Crafty Rick on there. So great. Like to me, the only thing that's missing would be like if he could put a little QR code right down
Yeah.
there. So Crafty Rick, if you're listening, put a QR code on the bottom side of these caps, and then boom, business card. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Really neat. We talked to him for a little while, and yeah, I mean, just like an insane spread of these models that take him. Some of those took him a year to make, he
Yeah.
said, and he's basically always making the next one for. And they go to conventions and they run games for the Fallout skirmish game, and so that was a really neat interaction.
Yeah.
And anytime you can talk to somebody who's passionate about something, and we both like Fallout.
Yeah.
Drew is more of a long-standing fan than I am myself, but. Yeah, I mean, it was just freaking cool, man. And
Yeah.
it just gets me even more excited. I really got to pick up a copy of that Fallout RPG.
Yeah, well, and that's to me that's something that we could talk about on the channel, and potentially do a let's play, and you know,
Yeah.
kind of. So that's future content, which I mean that's really what these conventions are for. It's a great place for us to check out some of the newer games that are just coming out, and then get that content out to all of you, because some things have been around for a couple of years, and it's the first time we're seeing them.
Yeah.
And only because we made our way here, and it was great again having people reach out to us. So, what is something my something that kind of that I really appreciated that we haven't covered was the art. Is there anything from your perspective that you're like something's missing? What's missing in this live stream?
Well, I think I covered it with the Crafty Rick, and I really appreciated that model building. It's just something that I couldn't do.
Yeah.
So I really appreciate that.
Actually, sorry to cut you off.
Yeah.
LARP, the LARPing thing. So okay.
I want to do an episode on LARPing so bad.
Yeah, and I'm totally fine with that. But obviously, like as I'm more of I'm a home nerd first, and so I'm not going to do it in the summertime. Like fall, fine. Spring, I'll be leaking mucus from my face. So, but there's a couple of different like LARP sections. We passed one yesterday when we were trying to look for like this space, and there were people with just like PVC and foam and duct tape. And then there was just bits of foam everywhere. And it was really cool, like just like that was cool. But there was also like a little alcove section where it was mostly like pool noodle stuff, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. They got to keep it safe.
Well, of course. But I mean, there were some folks that were taking it a little too seriously.
Listen, I am so fascinated by LARP, and I want to do an episode because after all, this channel is called Nerd Leading the Nerd, and I feel like we don't LARP. That's not to say I wouldn't. I don't know anything about it. I want to find a local LARP group, and I want them to be the expert and do an episode with us. And so if you're in a LARP group, let's get together, because I want to do an episode on it, and I want you to talk to us about how to get into it. And
and we could maybe build some stuff.
Yes.
Armor. Like we got to do weapons and armor and stuff like that.
I want to do that. And so yeah, that is one thing that I kind of got a little peek. I'm like, hey,
Yeah.
what you got going on over there? I didn't sign up, unfortunately, to get involved at this con or anything. But yeah, that is one thing that we will cover. Speaking of things we're going to cover, I think this is a good time to mention this as we kind of get towards the end of this live stream here. And for everybody who's been jumping in and out, we really appreciate you, all the comments, all the input. It's been really great having a nice back and forth. But I do want to mention that we do have some review copies of several of the games that we mentioned.
Yes.
And so we will be doing review episodes here in the next coming weeks.
Yes.
And so be on the lookout for that. So if anything that we mentioned and you're interested in, and you're like, man, I don't know if I should pull the trigger yet, you will receive some additional feedback from us.
Exactly.
And some playthrough information and what have you. So really excited to do that.
Yeah, and hopefully, if we can, we're going to try to get that stuff out before Gen Con.
Yeah.
So that if you're going to Gen Con, a lot of these publishers are going to be there too. So you can easily pick up a copy of your game there and potentially, beat the folks that are trying to order it through a website or through Amazon or whatever. So, yeah, man, I think, God, I'm exhausted. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it's been a great couple of days, but it takes a lot out of you. Just socializing and and all that. But one last thing that I want to talk about, and
Okay.
this is something that I found out about at it was like one of my first conventions. It was years ago when I like went to, I think it was Louisville to do this. It was like Doctor Who was there, and it was
Louisville Comic Con?
yeah, and it was you could meet Billy Piper and David Tennant. So of course I was going, and John Barrowman, and it was by far one of the best convention experiences I've ever had. The John Barrowman like embracing me at a photo op. I mean that was amazing. But I found this company that I've been obsessed with for years, and it's the Wild Bill Craft Beverage Company, which has been here. They have, what's cool about this, so when you go to the con, it's kind of expensive, but you can get these metal cups, and then they put this little deal on there, and you can buy it as like free refills for the day, free refills for the weekend.
Can I hold it really quick?
Yeah, sure.
Is there like some there's a little weight to this.
There's some heft to it.
Like that's not that's like not unsubstantial. Like that's a serious piece, I would say.
Yeah, and I mean this is something that you can like clip onto your bag. What's even better is this year they have lids and straws, because I'll tell you, one of the things that sucks the most is when you're trying to drink your soda and someone bumps into you and it spills all over your nice nerdiness.
And that's even worse than getting like a beer spilt on you at a bar, because it's super sugary and sticky, I imagine.
It's still cold. I took the black cherry and I put a little bit of the vanilla cream soda on top of that, and absolutely phenomenal. But you can buy these sodas on Amazon too.
Yeah, it looks like Cerberus Den said they carry them in cans too, and they were looking to carry them in their store.
Cerberus Den, you should get them in your store, because they're phenomenal. The cans, I will say, because I've had them before, it is a wrapped can, so if you want that like cold touch can experience, you can peel the wrap off, and that's actually, you got to do that to recycle them.
Oh,
is
that true?
You should.
Okay. I didn't know that.
Yeah, but my favorites are the root beer is phenomenal, but I'm a root beer head. The black cherry is really good, but it is super sweet, which is why I add a little bit of that vanilla to kind of cut it a bit. And they had a ring pop flavor. Yeah, dude.
What flavor of ring pop?
It was
red.
I think it was purple. I think that was like the idea. Like it was like the pink and purple swirl ring pop is like the image that they have on the tap handle.
Okay.
But
kind of fake grape.
Kind of, but more like kind of a fake grape cherry combo.
I love fake grape.
But no, and that's one of the nice things too. You can get extra ice, like you can get topped off with ice. But if you have this little tab, you just walk up, fill it up, and walk away.
That's amazing.
It's fantastic.
That's amazing.
All right. Is there anything else that we have to cover?
I don't think so.
At this point, if you have any other questions or if you have any other things, shout out in the chat. Again, thank you for watching us prattle on for almost an hour about Origins. It's a great convention. It's taken a lot out of me, but I have so many good memories. And by the way, our little furry friend up here, his name is Crit. He's the mascot for Origins, and I don't know. I think he's kind of cool. He's shedding a little bit, but
yeah, he's cool. I like him a lot.
Yeah.
Do you think your cat is that like? Are you gonna let your cats snuggle up with him? We're gonna put him up so the cats don't get him.
Yeah. I think that will live in my background, perched atop the gelatinous Gen Con cube that I have.
I love it. I love
where
it.
it stores my dice.
Well, hey, listen. If you didn't come to I almost said Gen Con.
Sorry, that was my fault.
Wow. If you didn't come to Origins this year, seriously, like mark your calendar. Make sure you come next year. Again, we had a great time. Nice, large convention, but also very intimate
and decent amount of kind of room to. It's not asses and elbows.
100%. So, I guess with all that being said, from all of us here at Nerd Leading the Nerd, come back soon.
Because we'll be waiting.